What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. We're going to review the new Disney Plus series, Star Wars series. Of course, me being the BX Sports Jedi, a big Jedi enthusiast. We're going to review Ahsoka, Master and Apprentice, Part 1 and Part 2. Let's go. Feel the Force, and let's enjoy. So the new Disney Plus TV series here, Ahsoka. One thing I'm going to say before we even get started, I am enjoying every aspect of Disney working with Star Wars, from the enhancement of The Mandalorian to Obi-Wan story, now to Ahsoka. My goodness, also the Book of Boba Fett. They are doing a phenomenal job. I wish they will get more content, more Star Wars content. Of course, naming my channel after pretty much and all the different programs and sports related to Star Wars team. I'm a big Star Wars mark, like they call it in the wrestling business. So let's go right into Ahsoka. We're gonna do review part 1 and 2. If you don't have the Disney Plus, you need to get it. Not only you get the Disney Plus. Now this is a non-paid commercial. I don't get paid or any sponsorship from Disney. I'm just giving them a good plug. One of the best $14.99 that you could invest monthly is getting that triple play with Hulu, Disney Plus, and the ESPN. Of course, being a sports network, we do the MMA and we do UFC. Also, you get the hockey there, and of course, it just pays itself off with all the great content that there's there. So we're not getting paid. It's not a paid endorsement. It's just me with my personal experience on why the Disney Plus app and the bundle worth paying the money for. So we get into the Ahsoka review here. Now, one thing, if you watch this video and you watch the Ahsoka and you're confused and you're like, you know what, I'm not getting with the story. What does that have to do with Luke Skywalker? What does that have to do with Vader? There's a lot with that. Yeah, it does turn into that, because we know that Ahsoka Tano is the apprentice or the former Padawan of Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, before he turned to the dark side. She walked away from him. He never got to complete her training, as they're going to explain it in that video that you watch on that series. Also, there's a lot to do with the Force. The Clone Wars has a lot to do with the return of the Sith as well. And also, what I love that it takes part after Return of the Jedi. Also, it tied in with the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, where we saw, remember that scene in the courtyard when she get the Velasquez steel from the villain, and from Maud Elizabeth, that she ends up capturing her and giving her to the rebels or to the Republic for trial. That starts from there, where she gives the Velasquez skill to Mando, where he makes the armor and he turns it for Grogu's vest. So there's a lot of tying into all the different stories and series. Also, when you start seeing that, I'm gonna also ask you to go back if you still haven't got any clarity or can't see the chronological sequence of this program of that with Ahsoka. You got to watch animated series Star Wars Rebels. Phenomenal series. It's not cartoony. It's a tweener between a little bit of adult animation with children. It's not all kiddie, and it's not it's not unsafe for kids either. It's just there's storylines to it. And of course, we start off with they're looking for a map, an Abercron map, to find Admiral Thrawn. Admiral Thrawn and Ezra. If you watch the Rebels, the final series, the final episode where Ezra takes the life force, uses the life force along with kind of like whales. Forget the name of it, so excuse me there for the Star Wars enthusiasts that watch. I forgot the name of those force dwellers that they went to hyperspace. They went across far away to another universe. Some people said they might have given themselves to the Force and they might have died or passed away. He sacrificed himself for the greater good for the rebels to overcome. Now they're looking for a map similar to the way we saw for the Rise of the Skywalker, the Last Jedi, where they're looking for a map to find Luke Skywalker. There is a map here in an Abercron where Ahsoka's trying to find it before the villains and Elizabeth or Morgan Elizabeth tries to find it while she's in prison. There's a lot of people looking for that. They want to rise the Empire again. They have fallen. They want to rise it. They think Admiral Thrawn could help bring the Empire back to rise. So there's like a cult. They're hiding in the weaves, looking to rise again. So we get to find Ahsoka in a temple and of course the Night Sisters of Thorum. Now, if you got to watch Clone Wars cartoons, well, they'll explain it more. That's a planet. They're witches. Also, I think Darth Maul, kind of their species, their people there. There's a whole chapter, like about 3 or 4 videos of that explain it more. So if you're new or novice, take a look at that. You could also look for it. You could also look for it on your Disney app. That should be there. I know that used to be on the Cartoon Network, but now it's on the Disney. Of course, everything moved over to the Disney app. I liked it. You see Ahsoka using her. Remember, Ahsoka's not a full Jedi, but she does have ways, forces of the Jedi. Didn't complete the trial. She walked away from the Jedi Order before everything went down, kind of like a rogue Jedi, but she still believes in the Force. She still does good out for the greater galaxy. So we see her going in there. She finds the Omicron, and when she's leaving out of there, you see her using the Force to open up the temple. Of course, there's always gateways or there's certain alignments. We see that in all the different Star Wars shows. When you use the Force to open up gateways and portals, or for Omicron to get those Omicrons, to get you to a map. We see her leaving the temple. She gets surrounded by droids that has like a saber type of weapons that you saw that in the Last Jedi, where all the Imperiums, all the guards, or the Knight of Ren type of. We saw that in the Mandalorian. We saw that as well. They have like an energy type of blaster or sword. She knocks them out. She gets rid of them. She gets out there. They blow up the temple. Now we see all of a sudden where Morgan Elizabeth is being held captive. We see her an X-wing, and they're getting permission with an old Jedi code to get on the carrier that's bringing the villain for a trial, similar to Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian. 2 apparently Jedis, and of course the admiral of the ship becomes very cocky. I'll bring it. Let them on. I want to ambush them and see if they're not no Jedis. You don't mess with Jedis or Sith. You don't know the power of the Force. And he brings them on board, and of course we see that they're using orange lifesavers. So interesting. Each color means something different. I'm going to look into the color orange of the lifesaver, and they're coming. They're using all types of. They're using the Force power, Force with the chokehold, the sword. He has an apprentice. There's always 2. Whenever there's a Jedi, you always have an apprentice or Padawan. They go in. They rescue Morgan Elizabeth out. He seems like he's a mercenary. He looks like he's not a Sith. Now, when they usually turn to the dark side, completely to the Sith, they tend to have reddish eyes. They turn more red. You see, with Vader's lightsaber is red. Also, the glowing eyes with Darth Maul. You see that a lot of red symbolize a lot of Sith. And the Jedi usually green, blue for hope, white. And this is orange. It's like a little bit of red and white when you mix the colors. And maybe that's what to symbolize a tweener, kind of in our terms, a tweener, because we'll see more of him. I'm pretty sure we're going to get more of his character as the series progress, even though unfortunately he passed away in real life. And I don't know how far they filmed with him, but I know they dedicated the episode to him, to the actor, and of course in memory and memoriam for the Irish actor. I like the fact that we're getting different Jedis. They're also explaining that he was we'll see later down the road where they see the video footage of them breaking them out from the prison or from the cargo ship that's taking her there, and Hungan, the droid of Ahsoka, in the database finds out that he was a former Jedi that left the Order as well, and I guess he goes by Baron Skrull. Baron Skrull is his name, and of course, he has his apprentice. We see now they go back to not Coruscant, all the I'll forget the name of the city. We're in the Rebel City where they're honoring the rebels. I love the fact that they had the mural in the background of the city. Of course, you saw General Sadula, you saw Ezra Pritchard, you saw Kanan. Remember, Kanan passed away. He gave himself to the Force. He passed. He was the blind Jedi. He was blinded by Darth Maul in the cartoons, and then he passed away with the Force. He helped sacrifice himself for the greater good of the cause. And as well as Sabine, they want to honor her. Sabine is totally disconnected. She looks like she's been through a lot, and she's done with all the politicking, and she knows her friend Ezra Pritchard isn't coming back. That the family that she once had in Rebel, they're disbanded. They're doing different things, and we see her kind of like being a rebel herself. Remember, she is Mandalorian, so Sabine is Mandalorian, the Mandalorian descendant in this show, and she's going back. We also see the Loth Cat. It's good to see the Loth Cats from the cartoon now in the puppeteering from the programming that Disney does. I mean, of course, it's Disney. It looks phenomenal. Everything looks phenomenal. The aesthetics, the everything from the dialect. Rosario Dawson knocks it out of the park as the more older, mature Ahsoka Tano. I love that. Perfect casting with her. Just makes it more like wow. Sabine was a good actress. They cast her well, but Sadula, I think they could have used a different Sadula, but it is what it is. I mean, you're going to be in green makeup anyway, so you really don't. She looked kind of like more airheaded, and Sabine is more. General Adula is more wit, smart, but it is what it is. There, we find out in this episode that I did not know that Ahsoka took a Padawan, and that was Sabine. So Sabine learning the ways of the Jedi, a Padawan, and of course they disbanded. Ahsoka has a issue of the full Jedi Order. That's similar to Luke Skywalker. We saw later in the movies in the Rise of the Skywalker, he was disconnected from the Force. Oh, and the Last Jedi as well. And then he returned to the Force when he gave his life to the Force to help them escape there in the Last Jedi. Also, Ahsoka is a little disconnected from the Force. She still uses the Force ways, but not the full order of the Force. We see that Sabine is her apprentice. They have a little bit of disconnect, but she's the only one that could help her uncover that Abercron, or that find the direction, the map to find them. Possibly Ezra Pritchard will be alive. That will intrigue her. I know they had a great connection. You see a hologram of Ezra leaving a message to Sabine right before he made that sacrifice and going with taking Admiral Thrawn with him and giving a final message. That was a heartfelt, and I like the fact that they're tying in these series so you really have to watch a lot of Star Wars content. Like myself, a geek, I love Star Wars, so I could watch that from Phantom Menace all the way to all the different programs and all the different shows, and I'm a big fan of it. So to me, no issues. I know it's a lot of content for people that who don't get into the Star Wars or just the moviegoers. You gotta watch the series. You gotta watch the cartoon. I love the way they tie everything. They made everything canon in the Star Wars universe. I'm all for it. We see that we're getting a rise of a villain in Morgan Elizabeth with her two so-called Jedis that are in order. I know her apprentice asked Baron, what do you get out of this power? Some people might hope, some people might start a war if Dawn comes back, but for us, we want power. And it looks like power, that's also a tendency of a Sith from the dark side. Interesting on him there. But then there's an interesting part in part 2, we'll get to it later, where there's still light in him. So there's conflict with Baron as a lead there, but his Padawan looks like she's a total badass, like trained to be a mercenary, don't care anything. And we'll see later when she has an encounter, gets that Omicron away from Sabine, where they ambush her in her home and she's fighting it off. Where we see her finally take her lifesaver out. She gets into a lifesaver battle, fights there. I guess lack of practice. She gets punctured right in the side, doesn't die. The episode one finishes there, or part one, and you're thinking, oh my god, did they kill off Sabine in the first episode? So if you're listening, I didn't spoil anything for you there. That was a real good plot twist. What I loved it, we didn't have to wait a whole week. They gave you part two right off the bat. You didn't have to fester and wait. Did she pass away? Did she die? Did they remove her? No, they went to part two, which I love. She's been getting medical treatment. They see her waking up in Ahsoka's spacecraft, of course, and she's getting better. We see now that they go find out about the droid. All it leads up to that there's some Imperial workers still invested in the Republic. So we see all that plot twisting there. All in all, I recommend you guys to watch. I'm not going to go on and on because it sounds like I'm going on it, and I don't want to get too much out of whack and leave anything out or have you guys watch it. Of course, I'm going to be totally biased. I love anything that does with Star Wars, but this Ahsoka, one of our favorite Padawan, a Jedi. I really loved her when she came out with the relationship she had with Anakin Skywalker from Clone Wars to all the way to a little bit of Rebels. The way she felt him turning, and that story like a little sister with her brother, and the disappointment there, and that felt, and that's why I think the emotional attachment to Ahsoka, seeing her live action series, really resonates. I mean, I love the fact that when we saw her with Luke Skywalker, because she got to see the dad, and then now work and be able to see the son, and training Grogu and have that hope and seeing the fruit of Anakin Skywalker. That was a cool moment, and we saw that, I believe, in Book of Boba Fett or in Mando. That was a real nice moment there when Mando goes to visit Goku, and she's there. I really love that one too. That was a very good episode. So I love the fact that they keep moving. I wonder if they're going to have any help from Ahsoka. We see that Sabine is going to join her back there, and she's going to complete now, and she calls her Padawan again and asks for forgiveness for deserting her, not completing her training. So it looks like they're mending fences. We also saw Sabine take her Mandalorian helmet with her, and they're ready. They're ready to go to the Outer Rim there to find out where they're about to start a hyperdrive. They have the map. Morgan Elizabeth has a map, and they're ready to go get General Thrawn there. And they asked Baron if he has to, actually he'd be ashamed to kill Ahsoka because she's one of those good ones. Like, he's feeling sorry for her, and he's trusting his feelings, but then there's conflict. You see conflicts within him. You know that's going to happen. You're going to see that confrontation later down between them. For episode 1 and 2, this was great. I didn't even know that almost 90 minutes went by that fast. I mean, it just was intriguing. It was captivating, and it kept us engaged. That's what a Star Wars series should do. Also, it also gives some explanation. It wasn't boring. It was right to the point, and Disney does it well. And I can't wait to see episode 3 and 4. Hopefully I get a guest here in some time. We'll review it together as a guest. But I just wanted to give my quick thoughts there on Ahsoka. All the canon with Rebels is on point. I advise you to watch it. The costumes, the graphics, the music, the meerkats to the love cats, to every little detail of the Star Wars universe there in Ahsoka and Disney Plus, A+. If you like sci-fi, this is something for you to watch and enjoy. If you have young ones, get them going into the Star Wars. Make it a fun watch with the young ones. You can start them go with the animated series. You don't really have to go to, then go with the Phantom Menace, because they'll get bored with the Phantom Menace. There's a lot of politicking and back and forth with the Republic and trade and Federation. No, get them into the cartoons with them. Also, the Lego, you believe it or not, the Star Wars Lego are fun to watch there. I get a kick on that. They're a little humorous, but the kids, if you want to get your kids to get involved in Star Wars, and you're like, man, my kids, you know what? Start off with the Star Wars Legos. and go on with that. So for me, we thank you. We tell you to continue to feel the force. May the sports be with you. And we'll see you next time here on the Sports Jedi Network. I am the Sports Jedi, BX Sports Jedi Kev. See you later, folks. Enjoy, and may the sports be with you.